Well, on this week's episode of Weekly Rookie Card Report, we're going to do a follow-up story on that Babe Ruth card that took a $3 million haircut. We're also going to spotlight the rookie cards of the great Rickey Henderson. And we're also going to take a look at a popular misconception about first cards. That and much, much more on this episode. You ready? Then let's do it. All right, friends, we're going to go ahead and start off with word of the day. And this is the wrong date on the bottom of the screen. So please excuse that. I will make that change going forward. But I want to start with the word scheduled card. Scheduled card. And one of the reasons is the PreWar glossary that I had created and attached to my website, which I left a link on the video show notes below. But here is the definition. Schedule card. And this really ties into this week's feature story. And that is the definition of what is exactly a schedule card. And it is a type of card issued by a team, sponsor, or promotional partner that features the team's schedule, often for one of the four major North American sports, alongside a player image, a team logo, or advertising design. While similar in size and appearance to traditional trading cards, these were primarily intended as informational or promotional handouts rather than as part of a formal trading card set. That, my friends, let's put a little pin on this definition because we will return to it shortly. Let's move on to our next segment, and that is Rookie Buzz. And I got a couple of stories for this one, but I want to start with a post on X by Darren Ravel, and he writes this. Newspapers.com has digitized full newspapers that go back to the 1800s. Does anyone think it's strange that the first mainstream mention of the Baltimore News Babe Ruth was the Durham Herald News in 2006? Things that make you go, I'm going to leave that one there. That is just a post that makes you think. Now, if you remember the definition that I gave you just moments ago on what a schedule card is, that's important because this Baltimore News Babe Ruth is technically a schedule card. This is also relevant because I have always taken the stance that this 1914 Baltimore News schedule card of Babe Ruth is not a rookie card. And that's the stance I took. And I've been holding that position this entire time. And I found very interesting this week on an episode of Sports Card Dad, where he interviewed Brian Gray. And I want to apologize to Brian Gray, first of all, because I made mention of him last week and I called him Big Bree. It's not Big Bree, big deal guy. It's Big Bry, the big deal guy. And that was an error on my part. I think I called him that twice. And the reason I believe I did that is because I work with a guy at work whose name is Brian, and I've worked with him for many, many years, but he goes by the name of the nickname Bree. And that's just kind of what was in my head. But it's Big Bry, the big deal guy. I don't listen to his podcast too much. I ended up listening to an episode for the very first time, not too long ago. And it's like every other sentence, every other word in a sentence was an F-bomb. And I just, it doesn't offend me unless it's done overboard. And to me, it was just an overboard episode with just extremely foul language. And I just lost interest on listening to anything else on his podcast. But he did end up sharing something on the Sports Card Dad show during that interview that I want to show you here to kind of back up what I'm saying. Listen to this.
And I know you're trying to buy the best of the best. If the last sale was 3 million or something, and then you're paying 10, and maybe in 20 years, 10, 15, 20 years, 10 million, maybe that is a great buy. Maybe it is.
Or in 6 months or a year.
Or maybe in 6 months or a year. But what if it's
looking for, if you look outside of cards, people are looking for stored value.
I mean, look at that. Brian, what about the Babe Ruth that sold for?
That's a bad one. But again, here's the thing. You're taking an oddball card, which I do not believe is a rookie card. He's in a minor league uniform. That is not a rookie card. Whoever snowed him into thinking that's a rookie card, shame on them and shame on him for buying it. He doesn't know enough about cards. A minor league card is not a rookie card. So that's not Ruth's rookie. Number two, that card was purchased in a panic to buy asset. I think that.
And I find this to be very, very interesting because it's the stance that I share with others. And a lot of times people seem afraid to admit that that could possibly be one of the reasons. Or they want to haw around and kind of be politically correct and well, technically the first, and it's close enough to being a card, and they're very wishy-washy, and they don't have the stones like Brian Gray does here to kind of call it what it is, and which is a stance that I've been taking for many, many months, many years now. And so kudos to Brian Gray for having the stones to call it like he sees it. Moving on to another segment that's somewhat related is this story that broke on Sports Collectors Daily. Rich Mueller writes this headline. Check out this headline. More 1916 newspaper ads reveal distribution of baseball cards. And here he tells a story of a newspaper clipping from 109 years ago. And it was quite the advertisements as they are. It just gives us a glimpse of how these cards were distributed as they found this newspaper clipping on a recent newspaper ad. And he tells the story here, and it's right here. It says, we've just uncovered a new group of old newspaper ads from Burgess Nash, an Omaha, Nebraska department store that opted to hand them out over a 10-week period. And here is the flyer for that. And so that gives us a little bit more of a glimpse of how these things were distributed. And, I get a little bit of pushback brought to me with people who say that, you can't apply rookie card standards of the modern day into pre-war. And I beg to differ with that. And I have for a long time. And I'm finding more and more evidence that kind of backs up what I'm saying. And what I'm saying is that, yes, indeed, it did matter. As a matter of fact, the things that were established in the pre-war era cross over into the modern, and they affected the modern era. Not so much the modern era affecting pre-war, but pre-war affecting the modern. And yes, my friends, licensing was a thing. I do have a complete episode detailing the highlights of licensing on pre-war cards. And my friends, let me tell you, licensing was an issue back in this era. Cards had to be licensed. And I'm going to prove that to you. Also, the element of distribution. We see I'm just going to sit on that for now, but I'm just going to say it like this. Distribution mattered in the pre-war era, and I'm going to prove it to you. And so be ready for that. I'm really excited about all of these, the digitizing of newspapers. They have complete newspapers, and they're able to see all kind of stories and advertisements. And it's just an incredible, exciting time in the era of pre-war cards coming to the forefront. A lot of new information coming out. Next up, we're going to be looking at Card Ladder Feed. This channel is proudly sponsored by Card Ladder, and I want to start with October 26th. Let's start there. I wanted to look at this set here. I didn't know if any of you guys, I had a ton of these 1977 Star Wars Luke Skywalker cards. I had so much of this stuff at one point. It was just a very popular set growing up as a kid. The movie Star Wars came out in the movie theaters in 1977. I remember going to go see that movie as I was in the summer of 77. My birthday's in December. That would have made me like 6 years old, 6.5 years old. But I remember going to see this movie in 1977. And this movie impacted me tremendously. It had been unlike anything I had ever seen in a movie. And the story of Star Wars just really influenced my life in a lot of positive ways. I remember at one point I had Star Wars posters. My mom would buy me Star Wars figures, Star Wars cards. I even had a bedspread of Star Wars. And I had the ships, you name it, I had it. And just a very important set to me. And when I look at this thing today, this past week, just the element of nostalgia, I was just filled with nostalgia And that's, I think, is the element, you know. And a lot of people, oh, I don't like these cards because you see them all the time. You can see them every day. But here's the thing: is that it's an iconic card, and that's kind of what I'm drawn to. Iconic cards that have significance to me, and that's how come I can look at a card like this, and I really, 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 really want one of these, and it's a really important set. A lot of like first cards. You know, I don't like calling cards like this rookie cards. They're not athletes. I like to call them first cards. And we see here, I can't afford a 10. 10 just recently sold for $268,000. And that's what made the headline, or that's what made the feed anyways. But I was looking at, let's take a look at a collector grade. A collector grade is currently going for about $500, anywhere between $400 and $500. You can pick one up. And that's respectable. An 8, which is a grade that I may be interested in, we're looking at $1,000 to about $1,500. And man, I regret not getting this card a lot sooner. This card was not that high years ago. Prior to 2023, this card was not that high. But man, I think I want to get this set, to put this set together. I think it would fit nicely into the story of my collecting journey. Moving on, we're going to look at October 31st. There's this card that I want to look at, and that is this 2012 Prism Aaron Rodgers. Guys, if you don't know, you should know that the 2012 Prism cards in NBA and NFL are very, very popular in the secondary market. If you have some of those cards and you have parallels like this one, even the base cards of key players hold significant value in the secondary market. They are very collectible. So keep that in mind. If you don't know, you should know. But let's look at the base version of this card. The base version of this card sells for about $100, anywhere between $50 and $100. You can pick one up. But I mean, if you have a card of like a really popular player, or like a Kobe Bryant or that sort of thing, these cards are really, really important to have, and they're beautiful cards. I have always thought that when a certain set comes out that's very popular, and that first year that set came out has always been a thing, and that's being felt more today than ever. I remember back in 1997 with the Bowman Chrome baseball. That was the first year Bowman Chrome came out, and I was very diligent at piecing together that set in its entirety. And I felt like it was going to be of more value in the future because it was the first Bowman Chrome set. And that's not really the case. Didn't really take off like I thought it did. I still have the set put together, and but it never, that one in particular didn't take off like I thought it was. But these 2012 Prism cards, they have taken off. And we're going to get into that a little bit more in this episode. Just hang with me. Here we go. We're going to be looking at Rookie Spotlight. And I want to share with you this great reel that I found on Instagram this week. Check this out.
Who was the best talker down at first base?
The best ever, made me laugh all times because he talked in the third person, was Rickey Henderson. Rickey would come down there and Rickey would be like, Rickey here? Rickey, this is in spring training when we're playing the A's a bunch, right? And Rickey's down there. And LaRussa puts the hold sign on because he wanted McGuire and Canseco to get some swings in. And you can just see Rickey wants to steal a bag. Rickey's getting pissed, you know? And I'm egging him on. I'm just egging him on. I'm like, Rickey, you don't need to take that run, Rickey. Run, Rickey. And he, about 2 or 3 pitches later, he goes, oh, hell, thrill. He goes, Rickey gone. Rickey gone. And so I look at the dugout, right? And I go like this. I go, he's running, right? So sure enough, we pitch out, throw down to second base. Rickey slides in safe. He jumps up and he goes, I told you, thrill. Rickey gone. Rickey gone.
Who was the
Man, you got to love Rickey Henderson. If you sit down and listen to the stories that this man has done over the years, you will find yourself amazed at the character and the superstar status, Hall of Fame career that he had. This guy, what a player, man. And I had to, this was the heart and soul of my collecting journey as I began collecting. I began collecting in 1981, but I remember buying packs of Topps at the corner store. And Rickey was always at the center of trying to get a Rickey Henderson, you know, and it was one of them things where this card is an iconic card of a player who has made an impression in my fandom of sports. And this is, I don't care if they sell 1 million of these a day. It's an iconic card. It's a card that has value. It's a card that is nostalgic, and it's a card that's going to have demand for a long time. And here we see 3 specific cards of him. The first one, we can see the 1977 Chong Modesto A's, card number 5. It's a blank back, kind of a ugly black and white card of Rickey. And then we have the 1979 TCMA Ogden A's, which is Ogden is misspelled there. But as I mentioned last week, these cards were fully unlicensed. They were, a lot of times they didn't even have licenses with the players. They were just, a lot of times they did not have license with, even with the player by himself. But the official true rookie card of Rickey Henderson is this 1980 Topps card number 482, the iconic image that is beloved by many hobbyists. And friends, learn the story of Rickey. You're going to be entertained. You're going to be astonished at the numbers that this man put up as far as stealing bases. I probably should have shown that. And I might do that. I might just add a little clip here at the bottom to show you how many career stolen bases this guy had. But it's amazing, the body of work that this Hall of Famer has done. He recently just passed away about a year ago, sadly, and he will be missed. Lastly, here we're going to look at rookie misconceptions, and I only have one to show you here, but it's an important one. It kind of goes with the theme of the entire episode here, but we're looking at a post on X by Eddie McPigskin. He writes, when a player changes teams and has more success, their rookie cards with old threads feel a tad out of place. Not saying they should diminish in value. It's a rookie card of a successful player. But should we put premiums on first-year cards of players on those new teams? And this is kind of the topic that Chris McGill and I was talking about a few months back about the doctrine of the first, and where, yes, this is a thing for certain players and for certain collectors. And yes, this is a thing for certain collectors that are a fan of a certain player and they follow them from team to team. That first year that they're on that new team, those cards have a premium, or they are desired amongst hobbyists, especially the really rare stuff. But from what we've seen and experienced, this fascination of the first cards are very short-lived. For example, here, look at the post. Eddie McPigskin, he actually reposted this post by Eric from those back pages. And Eric wrote, during the pandemic, there was a LeBron's Lakers rookie card pump. It was pretty funny. For those who think they are priced out of collecting Ohtani, there are numerous 2024, his first Dodgers cards options. And so, yes, if this Ohtani, you're a little priced out of his rookie stuff, you can find stuff like this in his first year in a Dodger uniform that does carry some hobby weight with some collectors. For me personally, it does not do much. And you have one here of Baker Mayfield. I know I had a lot of instances where, me personally, like when Michael Jordan went over to the Wizards, I couldn't stand those cards, to be honest with you. I collect Sammy Sosa. When Sammy Sosa left the Cubs and went to go play, I think it was for the Baltimore Orioles, I did not care for those cards at all. So it's one of those things, like for some collectors, it's a thing, and for other collectors, it's not. It's a complete turnoff. So, but I think to say, to call them like rookie cards, I think just muddies the waters even more. And it's something that I'm very, very careful. Again, I think words are very important. Meaning is very important. And I don't have an issue with someone, I think proper pronunciation would be first Dodgers card, or first Lakers card, or first Buccaneers card. And that's, I think, is more an appropriate terminology than to say first, or to call it a Dodgers rookie card or a Lakers rookie card. And I know technically it is, but it's one of those things that bringing lines of clarity, I think, helps the hobby overall, especially when we're dealing with novice collectors. I think that kind of verbiage can confuse a novice collector. Now, if you're a veteran, you know better, because we've been around, right? But I just think I just think that should not be done by us, more experienced collectors. Call them what they are, not what we want them to be. With that said, my friends, that's going to be it for this episode. It's kind of a short one this week. I am like really ultra busy this week, but I wanted to get an episode in. And I find like when I skip a week, it really, it takes double the amount of work to try to catch up. So that's how come I like to stay on top of these weekly rookie card reports. Anyways, the video on the left is going to be the video that Chris McGill and I did on the doctrine of the first. Check this video out. And the video on the right is going to be the rookie card guide for Shohei Ohtani. With all that said, friends, thank you for tuning in. Until next time, remember that not all rookie cards are created equal. Until next time, buenos nachos, muchachos.